Jack Schlossberg recently posted on Instagram that, quote, politics can be awesome, but it didn't used to be this whack. What did he mean by that, and why is he running for Congress? So why is politics whack?
Well,
and what are you going to do about it?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Marcia. It's an honor to be here on your show. In the past, politics, I know this to be true, and I feel connected to our past. I feel generations that came before us, your ancestors and mine, built this country based on a belief that we could do big things and that the government was capable, confident, and cared about people. That when you called up your representative, you might actually talk to a human being and they would listen to your concerns. And our country turns 250 years old this year, and it's coming at an interesting moment in time. In the past, we believed in America. Right now, we have a president who wants to drive the number of people who believe in the government's ability to solve problems down as low as he can, because he wins when nobody believes in anything anymore. I reject that. I don't accept that. I believe politics can be a noble profession, that it can actually deliver for people. And I see a future where politics can deliver and people really do care.
So if you got elected, would people get to talk to human beings if they called your office?
Absolutely. I'm so proud that we have thousands of people who want to volunteer for our campaign. I believe that listening to voters is something that I've been doing since I announced 3 or 4 weeks ago. And talking to people in this city shows me that people want to be engaged in politics. People believe that politics can work like it used to in the past, and that in the future, we can build a country where we believe in doing big things again.
So you are joining a race that has, I don't know, 10 people, 12 people, it keeps changing, but a lot of people want this job. So what made you decide that this was the race, your first race was going to be in this pool of all kinds of people who want the job, and why would you be better?
I think it's great that people are running. I think it's great to have a competitive primary. I'm excited to throw my hat in the ring and compete against people who I think are also great, who have served the city with distinction and have great records. I think that we now need to elect a new kind of politician whose energy and style matches the moment that we're in, because it's not good enough now to just know your policy. And I went to school. I'm the only candidate who has released specific policy plans, 3 so far, just in the last 3 weeks. And we need to elect people who can speak specifically, clearly, and engage people, bring them into the political process. And I think that New York 12 deserves a representative who understands the political moment we're in and how to deliver for the district.
Well, you know, we have a situation where we just elected a mayor, a young mayor who's 34 years old. He ran when he was 33. And there seems to be a move towards a generational change in this country with what we're looking for. We're looking for new and people who are willing to think outside the box. So do you think you're in that mold, that you are willing to think outside the box and you have new ideas? Like, for example, I know you have a new housing plan.
Yes.
So, I mean, is that where you're coming from?
Well, let me tell you what I see as a problem for our party. Democratic Party, we've got great ideas, great policies. I'm a Democrat through and through. I believe in our history as a champion for minority communities. We have an amazing economic record to run on. The Democratic Party is competent and capable, but we've been speaking in vague abstractions. And so my campaign is about releasing specific plans to address specific problems and actually make concrete steps toward fixing them. So yes, our housing plan, the Jack Housing Fairness Plan, it's got 3 pillars to put a roof over fairness, 3 pillars for renters, 1, 2, owners, and 3, public housing, NYCHA. So I could tell you a little bit about it.
Please.
For renters, just like the mortgage interest deduction allows people who borrow and own against their homes that they own to deduct a portion of their interest payments from their federal taxes, renters deserve the same thing. There is an affordability crisis here. More than half of renters in New York are rent burdened. It means they spend more than 1/3 of their income.
So was that a rent freeze, or you just want to find another way to get the money?
No, we want to make it so that there's no distinction in where our tax code treats people who are renting from people who are borrowing against their homes. Renters should have that same option. To deduct a part of their rent from their federal income taxes, that's going to put thousands of dollars back into people's pockets so they can spend it on things like childcare.
So basically what you're saying is you should get a tax credit if you're a renter.
Why not? If you're a renter, why are you you're paying all this money into a system and you're not getting anything back from it. You're not getting any equity in your home, and you're contributing to the city's growth, but all that money is going down the drain.
So what would you do for NYCHA residents?
NYCHA residents, I'm announcing, if elected, I would try to form the Fix It Now caucus. Because I go and I talk to NYCHA residents, and they have a backlog of repairs that are not getting fixed. You know that it takes more than a year on average for a maintenance request to get filled? That's unacceptable. People deserve to live in safe, dignified, habitable living conditions in this amazing city. So we would try to Fix It Now caucus would focus on direct repairs, timely improvements, and maintenance accountability.
What do you do about landlords who are worried about they're not going to get enough of a rent increase so that they're not going to be able to make the changes, the fixes that the apartments need?
Well, that brings me to my plan, our third pillar, for property owners. This is a really important issue because owning property in New York should not come with a federal penalty, and it does. It's called the SALT cap.
Right.
The cap on SALT deductions is killing blue states, especially like New York. We contribute more into the federal government than we get out. We're subsidizing the growth of other states. We need a tax code that's fair, and the SALT cap at $40,000 is not fair. And New York Democrats, Republican Democrats in the House, they got nothing from the president. The president was willing to make the cap higher.
And that was really hard to even get what they got.
That's right. And so we need to focus on this, turn up the pressure, and I'm calling for a full repeal of the SALT cap, full stop. It's completely unfair, and this would encourage people to stay in New York, property owners to stay in New York, and would make a real difference for people who own their homes.
So
in
how
this
much
district.
would they be able to deduct? Not the $40,000 cap right now. How much?
We would want to we want a full repeal of the SALT cap.
Total.
Yeah, well, I mean, based on your income, it's still tied to income levels. So we would call for a full repeal of the SALT.
But here you have a problem where if you have a Republican-controlled legislature, either the House or the Senate, it's not going to happen.
Well, I think that if we elect exciting Democrats who have energy behind them, who understand the politics of this moment, we will win back the House.
Really?
I really believe that. I really believe the Democratic Party is on the up and up. The Republicans are against the rope. Nobody likes what's going on. People are struggling to afford to live in New York City. Nobody likes that, left or right.
But what about the country?
Same thing around the country. Purple states, red states, people are feeling the pinch of this president's regressive tax code, and people don't like it. The elections last month showed that. People are voting blue, and the Democrats are going to take back the House, but we need to elect a new type of candidate because it can't be business as usual.
We're going to have to leave it right there for now, but our conversation continues right after the show on our streaming channel, CBS News New York. We are back with Jack Schlossberg, to some people known as a social media provocateur. You have a huge presence on social media. You post all the time. At one point, you did something where you said, who's hotter, my grandmother or J.D. Vance's wife? What are you trying to do with all these social media posts?
Well, if you look at my social media, I would say, and you have a certain reaction to it, I would direct your attention to the president. The president posts outrageous content all the time online.
Every day.
Yeah, he posts videos, AI-generated videos of himself flying a fighter jet, dumping fecal matter onto U.S. citizens, okay? We can't afford to not use our sense of humor, our sense of levity, and just to poke back at the hypocrisy that you're holding me to a standard of being crazy or not. Look at the President of the United States. The President of the United States is acting unbelievably unhinged every single day, and we don't hold him to any ruler. So the content that I put out that is provocative is all in service of a political message, and that is to oppose the president's attack on our civil rights, our Constitution, and minority communities, and to stick up for our party. I've been championing the Democratic Party online, trying to show people that we need to use our full capabilities here, our sense of humor, our seriousness. It's funny and serious, and that's the exact type of political content that we need if we're going to do anything about the situation we're in, because our party doesn't have control. We have no control in government. We have no control over any branches of government. And what are we waiting for?
I actually have a question for you. You come from a long line of Democrats, obviously. But the question I have is this. When you take a look at the Democratic Party today, do you have a sense that it's lost its way, that it doesn't have an identity? And if so, like, what kind of an identity would you like to see the Democrats have? What's the winning strategy for winning back support among American voters for the Democratic Party?
When I think of a Democrat, I think of a rule breaker, a cultural figures who embraced change. I think of a party that has a great economic record that elected new types of candidates over and over again throughout the 20th and 21st century.
So what changed? Where did they lose their way?
I'm not sure that we've lost our way. I think politics has fundamentally changed and our media environment has fundamentally changed.
Because of social media?
Partially because of social media, partially because of a president who has changed the tone himself. In that way, he's an icon, and we would be foolish not to look at what's going on and adapt our strategy, because the truth is we haven't lost touch with our values. We have great policy ideas, but we haven't been able to communicate them and build
Or
support.
sell them to the public.
Right, and that's why we need to meet people where they are in ways and languages that they understand. And that's what my campaign is all about. I think this is both a messaging and stylistic problem, sure, but I think the problem is much more concrete. It's about, we can't talk in vague abstractions. Some of the other people running in this race, they throw up bumper sticker slogans. That's not what I do. We release specific plans. We've got a plan for how to protect houses of worship in New York 12. We've got a plan for how to lower specifically costs for food and clothes by repealing tariffs.
Right.
And now a housing plan that addresses the concerns, affordability concerns of renters, owners, and NYCHA tenants. We have to be specific here, and the president is misunderstood, in my opinion. I think people look at him and they think because he lies so much and is so outrageous that he's not intelligent. He's incredibly intelligent, and he speaks in specific policies. People can name the policies in the last campaign: no tax on tips, deport all the immigrants. I don't agree with deport all the immigrants, but people know what he stands for. We speak too vaguely, too broadly, and my campaign is about specific plans. And that's why I'm the only candidate in the first month who's released specific plans on all three of those issues, and will be continuing to do that.
So people call you Fast Track Jack.
Yeah.
Is that something that makes you happy?
Yeah, well, our fast track plan, the first policy I released was called Jack's Fast Track Plan. And it's a fast track plan related to doubling the budget for the nonprofit security grant program. And if you
Which
know,
would help get security for houses of worship.
yes. So the day after I released that plan, Park Avenue Synagogue on Upper East Side, uptown, was attacked in a pretty violent, rhetoric-wise, anti-Semitic protest.
How did you feel about that?
Awful. I mean, that makes people in this city, this is a safe haven for the Jewish community for centuries. I have two grandfathers. They were both president. One was president of the US, the other was president of his temple, which is now Park East Synagogue uptown. And that's a history that means a lot to me. The Jewish community should feel safe here, and anti-Semitism is on the rise. And that's why we need we can't just call out anti-Semitism vaguely at large. We need to show people the federal government can be used to protect you and to serve the community. And that's what that plan is about.
So if I said to you, who is Jack Schlossberg, what would you say?
I would say I'm a New Yorker who cares about his country and his city, and who believes that this moment is too important for any of us to stay on the sidelines.
But in a sense, you're a person who has a past, a present, and a future.
Yes.
A past is certainly a legacy from your family. The present is who you are now, and then there's the future. How do all those three ideas meld together to turn you into the person you are?
Well, I feel like I'm a really lucky person. I was born in New York, amazing education. Whenever I got sick, I could afford health care. But the privilege that I've been thinking about more and more is something that you have too, we all have it. And it's a connection to the generations that built this country in the past. And that past, I believe, is defined by a belief in America's ability to go to the moon, the greatest generation to defend freedom around the world and build America. In the present moment, the moment that I live in and the moment I'm running in, the belief in our country's ability to solve problems is at an all-time low. People don't believe, they don't have confidence in Congress or the federal government. And it's not going to work out well long term, and I reject that. I don't think it has to stay that way. We need to believe in our ability again, because that is what this country is all about. We didn't start out as the most powerful nation on earth. We built ourselves into that step by step. So I'm running because I want a future where we believe in our own ability, we gotta get our confidence back, because the government can be used to help people's lives. That's what it's there for.
So is that why you've made it a point to come out with all these position papers? Because in a sense, you're like Zohran Mamdani, who young, bright, and came up with a whole bunch of
That's right.
ideas, thinking out of the box. Is that the important thing? Is that the boilerplate now for what candidates should be when they run for office?
We have to be specific. We have to be specific about policy, because what are we doing here if we're not trying to make people's lives better? And it's great to have broad values about democracy, the rule of law, civil rights. I share them. And the best way to accomplish things in service of those goals, affordability, like the mayor-elect and my plans, is to be specific with specific plans. How else does anything ever get done? That's how you move the wheels of government. And I give the mayor-elect a lot of credit because he was specific. He did put forward plans, and he had an amazing organization in his campaign that got people to the polls and excited about government again.
So, but he captured people's imaginations. What's your plan for capturing people's imaginations?
Well, when I walk up and down the street these days, people stop me and they are excited. They have smiles on their face and they're cheering me on. And that's an emotional reaction to a campaign that's really about people. We've gotten, I think, 3,000 people sign up to volunteer.
3,000?
Yeah, we had 1,000 in the first 24 hours. People are really excited about our campaign, partially because, ironic as it may sound, given my connection to my family and the Kennedy legacy, I'm an outsider in this race. I'm not one of the local elected officials who has support from backroom deals. I'm running on my own name, Jack Schlossberg, for Congress, because people want to believe that there's someone with integrity who's telling the truth, getting people excited, and unafraid to take risks at a moment in time where we can't be afraid to stand up for our values and deliver for people.
You know, when you're seeking to replace Jerry Nadler, who is retiring, and he was asked about your campaign, he said people who run for this office should have a record. He doesn't have a record. How do you react when somebody says that to you?
Well, I have a tremendous respect for Congressman Nadler, who served this district with distinction, and as his work on the Judiciary Committee was really important. He led instrumental in the impeachment efforts against President Trump, and I would want to champion the same progressive causes that he did. But what I'll say about that is I don't think he was well briefed, because I do have a record of public accomplishment. I served in the State Department during the Obama administration, worked on environmental issues there. I went to law school and business school. I have a law degree and passed the New York State Bar. And for the last 2 years, I've been campaigning, first as a member of the Biden campaign and Harris campaign as a top surrogate. I went to almost every swing state around the country, traveled and met thousands of people to try to energize them and turn them out to the polls. And since then, I have been on offense defending our party and calling out President Trump for his many lies and crimes.
So I guess the question is if you want to meet President Trump on his own turf, he does use social media on a daily basis. How do you combat that, especially as if you were to win and you're a congressman from New York?
I believe that given who I am and my perspective and unique ability to communicate with people, that I'm both a problem for the president, if elected, and an opportunity. And I think that I could work with the president if he's willing to work on the issues that will help New York 12, affordability, and defend our civil rights. But I also think that if you're going to go work in government now, serve in Congress now, you need to have, you can't go unarmed into a fight with the president. You need to be able to use your creativity, your wit, your sense of humor. I know how to dance and how to fight.
So which would you rather do, dance or fight?
Well, I'd rather dance. I love to dance, but I'm prepared to do both. And I think, take cues from the mayor-elect. He knows how to stand up to the president, but he also knows when he has an opportunity to stand with him to deliver for New York, that ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to make government work for people and deliver, because that's the job. We're not here to fight to pile up debating points for the sake of debating. We're supposed to be trying to help people, and that's why I'm running, and that's why I'm releasing specific policy plans.
It's the last thing I want to talk to you about. So what do you do for fun?
Well, I love to exercise and be outdoors, and I do love to dance. We just passed, on my way up here, the Alvin Ailey Extension, where I take ballet classes. I paddle all the time on the Hudson River, which isn't as dirty as a lot of people say.
You paddle on the Hudson River?
Yeah, almost every day. Winter, summer, spring,
Come
fall.
on.
Oh yeah, you got to. I paddled all the way around Manhattan a couple years ago. But paddling at stand-up paddle It's a very good
But you could
exercise.
fall into the Hudson.
Yes, I try not to. But
Have
yeah,
you ever done that?
I have fallen in. I fell in like 2 weeks ago. It was very cold.
Oh
But it
my
was just
God.
quickly, and I got right back up.
Did you have a tetanus shot or anything?
Yeah, well, I'm a little bit worried about the head that's growing on my back, but no.
So as we end the show, I'd like to ask you if you could talk to voters in the 12th district and say why they should vote for you as opposed to the other dozen candidates who are running. Why should they vote for you?
You can trust me. You can trust me to defend our city and to deliver for this district. I have been born with an amazing privileges. One of them is that I was born with a platform to speak, and I'm using it to speak the truth with integrity and courage. And I can't be bought or sold or intimidated, and you can count on that.
Jack Schlossberg, thank you for joining me, and thank you at home for joining us as well.